Hey, how's it going? Thanks for stopping in. So today we're not doing any woodworking. I'm gonna work on shop lights. So I've designed and 3D printed some light enclosures. Just using this LED strip. It's 50/50 SMD LEDs. And then I've got these. So that is what you're seeing, is what is putting the light out under there. I'm gonna have 6 of these. They're an 8-foot shop light. I've also got some other styles that I've designed and printed. I'm only gonna use this one style today. So we've got some 4-foot lights. So you'll get 6 50/50 SMD LEDs. And then we got the 8-foot lights. And then you'd have 12 50/50 SMD LEDs. A few different styles include. You get little 1.5 mil screws. I'll put a link in the description. It'll be an affiliate link. So I'm earning a small commission at no extra cost to you. Got ones with no holes in them. So if you wanted to get some small chain and some small screws, you could have that, have your little chain light. And then I've designed a little enclosure for the wire. So that's just a styrene tube. But basically, if you wanted to do hanging lights and not see any of the wiring, this will let you do it. Then you'd have to add on your chains and everything, and then you could hang it or have it go over a bench or something like that, and it'd be all hidden wiring. I could do that and have my wires go through the wall and you wouldn't see it. And then there's also this style, which is the style I'm going to be using in the 8-foot version. And basically you'll just be able to keep daisy chaining the lights next to each other. Okay, so step 1 with these, I've got some aluminum tape. I'm going to put that on. So there we go. That'll be step 1. Get your aluminum tape on if you want to add that. And then just give it a little bit of reflection off the sides. I don't know if it's going to make a huge difference or not, but I'm putting it on. Okay, step 2. Gonna have to uncover all the insulation off that light. So that can be pretty tedious if you haven't done it. Sometimes you can peel it up. Bring this light over. Sometimes you can peel it off the actual strip. Just kind of grab a corner and work at it. Not too worried about the waterproof aspect of it. At least I hope this RC shop doesn't get wet. So I'll grab my flush cuts. Work up and under. Now you can see the pads exposed. I'll have to do that on both ends except for your final light. Okay, now we got all the solder pads exposed. So next step, and this is going to come down to whatever's easier for you. But we started the light, and that's going to be on that end of the shop. So you want to line up all of your positive and negatives. So be sure you do that, because, well, it'll still work, but if you get it backwards, you're going to have to twist your wire. So I don't like twisting the wire. Kind of want everything laid flat, that way it is up underneath. Oh no, I forgot to hit record. So thankfully I noticed before I got all the way done. So that's going to be about there. Got the mark just outside the housing. Get our positive and negatives lined up. And then I'm just kind of looking, centering the strip in the housing. And I'll know I gotta cut it about there. That'll give me some wiggle room. And then once I strip it, I'll tin it and then I'll snip it just to even it up. Bring that over. Snip it. I'm gonna go through a little bit of wire on this project. I am anyway. I'm using too much. I'd rather have too much than not enough. So pull those back, and then I'm just kind of stripping a little bit off. This is very tedious. I don't know what's worse, the woodworking or this aspect of it. And you don't have to daisy chain them. I wanted to. It's gonna be a cleaner job, less wires everywhere, and I'll only have one wire going under the table to the power supply. So I'm gonna be running, this is just a little 12 volt 5 amp power supply. Again, the biggest thing with this is if you're daisy chaining it like I am, make sure your positives and negatives are lined up, because if you get one strip wired backwards, it's not going to work. I am hot gluing all the connections as I go, just to give it some strain relief and protection. That aluminum tape, you really want to be careful. I don't know whether it's plastic or aluminum. I don't know if it's conductive, so make sure your solder points, none of the solder's balled up or touching it. Just be safe about it. If you don't know about 12 volt electricity, or you don't feel confident doing something like this, go watch a video about it, learn a bit about it. I've been messing with this stuff for on and off for years, so I'm confident with it. So if you're interested in these STL files for the light enclosures, you can jump on over to scatterbrainstudios.ca. That'll take you to my cult profile. I got a few projects on there. I don't have a whole lot yet, but I'm going to be uploading free and paid STLs to help support the channel and also give back to the viewers. And I just want to say I appreciate all my new subscribers. Very appreciative of you and very thankful. So where I'm using the 18 gauge wire, and it's a pretty hefty wire, I do have the soldering iron turned up to about 330. You want to be very quick when you're soldering the LED strip at that temperature. It's only thin, but once you tin the pad and the wire and everything, it happens pretty quick. So I'm not completely holding it on. I was just kind of dancing around with it and just getting the heat to it so the solder's stuck. And then from there, I'll just let everything cool down. Pull that wire out. You can see my line there. If you want, you can clean this flux up a little bit. It's gonna run. And then I was just putting my strip in, kind of centering it up, making sure the space is the same on each side. So then I know, okay, it's gonna be hard for me to show you guys everything. So I kind of got my my strip where I wanted it. Then I'll just cut the excess off. You can see I've just trimmed them down. You don't want a whole bunch of wire poking out with this stuff. My line's still lined up. I was just taking this little clamp, kind of getting it in place and holding the wire down. Dump some more flux on it, clean your tip. So again, just be pretty quick with it. It's only thin strip, it's only a small pad, but you're gonna need the heat if you're using 18 gauge wire. There's nothing you're gonna be able to do about it to get away from it. If you want, it's not a bad idea to test your connections as you go. I got this little wall wart running my solder fume extractor. I just use these ends. What you can do is just put a piece of wire on the end of it, tin the ends, and as you're going, like here, let's do it now because we're soldering all this up, and it's just gonna be bad news bears, and it's gonna be a huge disappointment actually. Make sure your wires, like make sure there's no strands going in from the positive to the negative. If not, you're gonna get a little spark, or you could get electrocuted, or anything's possible. But just be careful because like that's live. This is gonna be for test purposes only. Make sure the ends are separated. So that's live power. Make sure you're touching your positive side. And then you can see all the lights are coming on. So then instantly, be very careful with that. Unplug your test connection, put it aside. Don't ever do that, leave it powered up, or like be very mindful if you're doing stuff like that. So I'm gonna be very careful, kind of gonna fold this up. I'm just gonna try and get this strip, that cover to come off. I'm not taking the whole way, or taking it all the way off, but that's going to be like the strain relief, so I can now work on this end, and it's not flopping around and not compromising these wires. Just be mindful. Fume extractor doesn't work too bad. Those are just old case fans I had lying around. I was doing a project that involved a lot of soldering, and I ended up coming up with that. I kind of looked for, debated on buying one. They were like 50 bucks or 80 bucks, I think. I was like, not a chance. Like, way too much money. Then I got on Thingiverse, and the guy had the pedestal made, and he had like a single fan mount. And I was like, wait a minute. Let's take the base, because I could do, what do they call that? I could change the file and modify it, whatever. His licensing was fine, so I took the base and give him recognition, and then came up with this. Did the wiring and designed all that. I like it. It actually got one of the, like, it's showcased on Cult's main page, so super cool. I'm excited about it. So then from there, it's kind of taking one of these clamps again. You don't want to bend this strip ever. Like a subtle curve's fine, but you never want to put a hard bend in it. You can almost feel the solder sink when you have the tip on there. And that's, as soon as it sinks, pull away. A little bit of 99% IPA. So we're going to stick that down to kind of clean it up. Let's kind of gingerly bring that through. Walk that down. Once it's in place there, I kind of take my finger and push down on the contacts. I'm not trying to push the pads off, but I'm just making sure that the tips of this are stuck down. From there again, a little bit of IPA. Yeah, no, but I'll put some links in the descriptions for this one. I'm sure if you guys are doing a project like this though, I'm sure you guys already know where to buy stuff and what solder is and what wood glue is, but hey, put the links in, and if you guys do purchase anything through them, it's just a small kickback for the channel, right? Glue's good to go. I'm just kind of burying the nozzle down in there just so I can make sure the glue gets pushed in and around. Again, see if I can get kind of do a close-up of it without burning the wires and like holding it there forever. I'm just resting it up against the case and the wire. And there we go. And my instant reaction to hot glue is to touch it. I don't know why. Every time I got a hot glue gun on my hand, I gotta touch it. Like, I can't just let it dry. I gotta make a mess out of it and get it all over my fingers. Basically, these screws will strip super easy. So, you're gonna want to pre-drill the holes if you're using a 1.7 by 6 mil screw. So after messing with these, not even having them all up yet, I think if they burn out, we'll just put a new set beside them. The real reason I put doors in here. Looks straight on camera too. Anyway, I'm gonna go take a break and you guys are gonna cut to the next. Okay, so for the 120 volt on this, I've got this cord cut off of an old tool or something like that. Found it in the toolbox, God knows where it came from. Gotta figure out which is which. So I'm almost sure green is going to be ground or earth. I think blue is going to be my line, and then brown is going to be my neutral. But let's be sure of this. You never know, maybe they messed up in the factory or something and wired that backwards. So I'm going to take a multimeter, set it on ohms. It's going to beep. If you don't like the beep, you can change it to like 200 or one of those other settings. So with my suspicion, green is going to be the ground, correct? That'll be the brown. That'll be the blue. So, looking at Google on for descriptions of plugs and everything, because I don't do a whole lot of 120 volt electrical, and by me saying I don't do a whole lot, like I don't do it. This is about the extent of my 120 volt electrical. I never liked it. It was just not for me. So figure this out here. Looking at my picture, obviously ground's the easy one, but it's neutral should be this prong. So I think that was the blue. Correct. Perfect. So that puts me in line with another post I had seen, but I wanted to confirm, because you don't want, like, it'll still work if you wire it the other way, but it's not good for stuff. Stuff's coded and wired certain ways for reasons, right? It's good and tight. New addition to the fleet. I always used to use a torch for this stuff, but I figured it was about time I upgraded and started actually using the heat gun, which is what they tell you to use. So you can see on here, we get our line, our neutral, and our ground or earth. And then you got your 12 volt ground and your 12 volt earth. If you're doing this at home, make sure you don't combine the negatives, like thinking they're both ground, it's going to be safe. No. Don't be doing that. AC side separate from your DC side, and then we'll test the voltage after we get this hooked up. These don't have to be zinging tight. I wouldn't be using power tools or anything like that on it. Just to clarify, I have my line and my neutral backwards on that power supply, so I have fixed that. Got the dimmer switch. It will flash too, I'm not concerned about that at all. I just want the dim function from it. This wire is substantially smaller, so I'm going to change it. I cut the shrink tube off it and peeled the sticker off of it. I've marked my feed side. This side will be going to the LEDs. So let's pull these wires off and see what we can do. There we go, nothing to it. We will end up putting the shrink tube back on that, but not right now. Okay. I say okay a lot. Every time I turn the camera on, I'm just like, okay, okay. Need to expand my vocabulary. Oh man. This has turned into a long project. You know, I think this stuff up and I'm like, oh yeah, that's not a problem. Nothing to it. And I get into this stuff, and there's something to it. It's funny how the mind does that. working away at stuff, and you're like, oh yeah, 5-minute task, 3 hours later. It's like, what happened? I used to eat videos like this up on YouTube. Be working away at the computer on an RC and having this going in the background, like someone building an RC shop or working on stuff like this. I used to just eat it up. I'd have it playing all the time. And I was like the YouTube binge watcher. Now, I barely have time to watch any YouTube because I'm too busy trying to make YouTube. Not complaining. Just when you start this stuff, you don't really realize how much guys are actually putting into their channels. Like, my God, it's a lot of work, and I never thought it wasn't a lot of work, but it is a lot of work to do this stuff. And like, I don't even know if I'm really good at it, or if, like, well, I'm new, so I'm not good at it. But I don't know what I'm going on there. I'm rambling. That royally me. I gotta start over. Just in case you're affected by flashing lights, 2730 to 2750, there's gonna be some flashing lights coming up. Okay, anyway, squirrel here. So we've got to check to see how many amps our lights are pulling so we can put a fuse in there. I would say we can safely cut about right there. I know, right? This guy just put this together, now he's cutting it back apart. What is he doing? Okay, so you have a multimeter. See where it says max 10 amp fused, 2 amp max? You're going to want your 10 amp max. We could use the 2 amp. I doubt this is going to pull anything more than, if I had to guess, amp and a half. So down here we'll go to 10 on the DC amperage side. We're not touching AC side. So I can only find one of these, so I got half the tools. Still helpful. We'll screw that on there. Little alligator clamp. So it's pulling about an amp. So what we can do is put about an amp and a half fuse in there, and that will be fine. Half amp, 1 amp, 2 amp. So we only got a 2 amp fuse or a 1 amp fuse. I'm not gonna put a 1 amp fuse in it. It's just not gonna work out. So let's go for the 2 amp. If I had like an amp and a half fuse, that would be the one I'd pick. So this fuse is just gonna protect us if that if something catastrophic goes. I'm not relying on just the power strip feeding the power supply. It is surge protected, but I'd rather be safe than sorry, so I'm gonna put a fuse on the circuit. peace of mind. Like I say, it's not like I'm going to be running this when I'm not around, but 2 amps isn't that much. So if something shorts out and wires were to start melting, it's not going to be an issue. Solder fume extractor is great when you use it. And we'll let that cool down and we'll test it out. Okay, well, I had some dinner and cleaned up, and I left the lights running the whole time. Sorry, everything's working good still. Didn't really have any doubts, but just figured I'd leave it running while I was making dinner. Let's button this up and move on to the next video. Okay, so there's the wire that's coming out of the back. I've run it down and under. And there's a setup there. So you got the power protected surge protector, Wi-Fi power bar, and then a 12-volt power supply. That little switch is right here, so I can reach under that way and turn stuff on and off or adjust the brightness. I'm not really going to need that too often, so I'm not worried about that. But that's the basement of the shop, I guess you could call it. Well, that's a wrap. That was a big project. Glad it's done. Can't wait to get on to more. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more content.